What's up guys, my name is Liam, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Lamzu Atlantis Pro Hall Effect gaming keyboard. I've been really interested in checking this out as soon as Lamzu announced it, especially since it does come with the silicone keycaps. So, is this going to be the perfect gaming keyboard for you? Let's check it out. And before we get started today, I did want to let you know that Lamzu did send this out to me. However, everything you're going to be seeing in this videos is going to be my own words and my own opinions. This does feature their exact same premium unboxing experience, just as you get with their gaming mice. Up here at the top, you do have this cool looking wave that goes on the top. Then right below that, it does come with some extra switches. It actually comes with two, but I have one of them out for testing. It also comes with this carrying bag. And then down here you have documentation. It does have these stabilizers for the space bar. It does also come with some additional keycaps here because the WASD or these keycaps on the keyboard are blue, so it does give you the white ones if you just want to go all white for the aesthetic. There's also a USB-C cable, and then you do get this keycap and key puller. Here's a look of the keyboard itself. I really do like this white and blue colorway that they did present this with, and the build of this really does feel fantastic. This keyboard is incredibly heavyweight, so it feels really solid, really sturdy. Up here at the top, you do have the USB-C connectivity. Over here on the left side, looking over at the bottom, it does have this mirror finished backplate on it. I really do love the detail here. I think this looks great. It's kind of a bummer that this does sit at the bottom of the keyboard, so you never really do get to see it when you're using it. But the feet design is pretty straightforward and simple. You just have these four corners. And taking a look at this all around with the curves and the way that this was machined as one solid piece, it really does feel solid and premium. I've actually been using this keyboard quite a lot, and I don't really have any complaints about the design. The one thing is that I do kind of feel like the front sits up just a little bit higher than what I'm used to. Not that I feel it is a major issue or anything like that, but it did take me a little bit of getting used to it. But as you can see, it is sitting at 20 millimeters in height up here in the front. And with the overall height of it in the front to the back, it does give you kind of an overall flatter feeling typing experience. Taking a look at these silicone keycaps, there is actually a piece of plastic up here at the top, so it is a low profile switch that is a bit more flat, and then you do kind of have this piece of silicone that comes down here and is bendable around the edges. But when it comes to the actual experience and use of these keycaps, once I did get this out of the box, I was actually curious if it was going to feel incredibly grippy or sticky. The keycaps actually did feel more slippery compared to the plastic PBT style keycaps with the texture on top. And one of the biggest differences you notice is how smooth the surface actually feels. There's no type of texture on there, but the more that you start using this and breaking it in, they do give you more grip. Now you can still slide your finger up and down the keycaps nice and easily, so it's not like it's super sticky or anything like that. And they kind of do offer a little bit more of a softer to the touch experience, especially when you're somebody like me. The way that I use my keyboard, I'm actually very aggressive with it when I game. I like to be very rough, and I actually slap the keys quite a bit. So again, it does kind of soften up the overall feeling. And though a majority of keyboard enthusiasts out there may prefer the PBT keycaps over these, in my personal opinion, when I first got these, I kind of didn't know how to feel about them. I didn't hate them, I didn't like them, I just kind of whatever with them. The more I started using them, the more I got used to them. Would I change them if I could? No, I honestly would probably just leave them how they are. I kind of do enjoy how they feel to game on, and honestly it kind of makes this keyboard stand apart from anything else that I use out there. So all in all, I would say that I really do enjoy these. Taking a look at the internals underneath the keycaps themselves, here's where you do have the switches. They are placed inside of this aluminum tray, and in between the tray and the circuit board, you do have a silicone gasket. Here is a look of what the actual PCB itself looks like. And sitting below the PCB, they do have this thin piece of foam right here for sound dampening. And then here is the solid all aluminum frame. And as you can see by looking at these mounts, this is tray mounted. They're using these Raisha linear switches and they feel great. I've already reviewed the Drunk Deer keyboards. They also feature these same switches in them. They have an initial actuation force of around 40 grams and then the bottom out is 60 grams. So in terms of overall weight, they are rated identical to the Wooting Lekker 60s. But as I was going back and forth and comparing them to one another, I do feel like the Lekker 60s have a little bit more of stem wobble. And here's an internal breakdown of what the internals on the Switch actually looks like. They do come pre-lubed and it does have pre-lube stabilizers as well. But as you can see here, it does have this single wider rail design. So even though there's a lot of stability here, I do kind of feel like the dual rail switches that I have used feel just slightly a little bit more stable, but all around these really do feel fantastic. So let's go ahead and drop a sound test. The software is incredibly straightforward and simple to use. Coming over here, this first option is where it will allow you to adjust any of the keys that you wish to do so on the keyboard itself. And then you do have the capability to adjust the function 1 and the function 2 keys. Next up, one of the most important tabs, this is where you control the sensitivity. Really straightforward stuff here. You can individually select each key and adjust the sensitivity per the key that you select. Just click on it again to deselect it. If you want to clear them all, you can just hit this clear button. To make it real simple, if you want to adjust all the keys all at once, come over here and select the all option. But when it does come to these settings, you have a minimum actuation distance of 0.2 millimeters and a maximum of 3.8. So how these settings work is right here on the actuation. If you wanted to set this to say a 1.5 millimeter, the second that the switch gets released and goes all the way up to the top, all this functionality will reset. So the first time that you go to activate the switch, you will need to press the switch down to the 1.5 millimeter actuation point. These settings over here kind of override how the rapid trigger works. So right now I have it set to a 0.1 millimeter enable and a disable on the up and down. So basically, if you were to hit the 1.5 and activate the switch and then come down, all you have to do is release up on the switch by 0.1 millimeters. And with this key down sensitivity function, after you do release the key up by 1 millimeter, if you have this also set to 0.1, this is where the rapid trigger, every time you go down 0.1 millimeter, it will activate that switch again. So you can just kind of come up and down 0.1 millimeters to feather the sensitivity to get the quickest inputs possible. Once you release the switch all the way back up here to the top, that's when it would reset. And then you'd have to go back down to 1.5 millimeters to activate the switch. But for my personal preference with my settings, is I have gotten used to everything being as sensitive and as quick as possible. I just set all the keys to the 0.2 millimeter actuation and then leave the rapid trigger at 0.1 on the down and both on the up. And then this next tab is where you're able to control all the LED functions for the keys themselves. You have different presets over here. And then finally, you do have the macro tab. When it comes to the performance of the Atlantis Pro keyboard, there isn't a standardized HE latency tester out there on the market. So I decided to kind of do what everybody else out there is doing. I did build this solenoid rig, and I decided to try and get some real world examples going and testing this in game while being recorded on a 1000 frame per second camera. Here's a really quick rundown of the settings that I used on each keyboard and just give you kind of an idea on how I did this. I tried to measure everything up as accurately as I possibly could. This testing was done with an RTX 4090. I do have an Asus 360Hz monitor. I did drop all the settings as low as I could in Overwatch to try and average a consistent maximum frame rate as possible, and I was getting around 600 frames per second while doing these tests. And I just want to stress to you guys really quickly, this is not the most accurate form of testing out there. There's lots of other contributing factors that can actually alter the results of these tests, in my opinion, due to the weight of the spring. There's all kinds of different mechanical factors, different system end-to-end latency issues, but all around, I decided to do this just for fun, just try and give you guys a general overall idea of what you could potentially be getting in a real world gaming experience between this keyboard and the Wooting 60HE. With the Lamzu versus the Wooting, since I do have those Lekker 60s in there, like I said, both these switches are rated with initial force of 40 grams and a bottom out force of 60 grams. So they're pretty much the exact same weight. And I did kind of notice that in the results of all my testing. I kept running these tests over and over again, and I tallied up my final result of 20 times on the release and the press and they pretty much identically tied each other. They were just endlessly trading blows with one another. Sometimes the Lamzu would have a faster press on the switch, a faster release. Then the Wooting would have a faster press and a faster release. And in my final results, the Lamzu keyboard had one win over the Wooting with the press, but then the Wooting had one win on the release. And again, that was just stopping at the 20 result marker. Had I kept pushing forward with what I have experienced and seen so far, I'm almost positive they would have just kept trading blows, and it's pretty much a 50-50 result. All right, guys, so that about wraps things up on the Lamzu Atlantis Pro. With my time and experience while using the Lamzu Atlantis Pro out of the box, just leaving everything as it is, I really do feel like it is a great and solid option. I personally do prefer the 65 layout over the 60, since I spend a lot of time working and editing videos on my keyboard. I do like to use the arrow keys, even the delete and the end key quite a bit. So that, coupled with the fact that this really does come with a premium design and overall feeling to it, all the settings that come on this keyboard work perfectly for me with my style of gameplay that I use, and I really have been enjoying it a lot. And I absolutely could say that I'd recommend it to you guys if you do enjoy the look of it and you're looking to try something a little different, perhaps something to match your mouse. I really do feel like, for me, this has been a really great option. And even though Lamzu did send this out to me, I can genuinely say, if I had to send it back, that I do like it enough to where I would spend my own money to actually purchase one for myself. All right, guys, so if you have any questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.